Hey y'all, it's Shavana, your future physician you will soon know around the world. Today I want to get on and talk about, do you have the capacity for what you may be asking God for? So this topic came up because I was talking to one of my friends today, and not only that, a situation last week when I was talking to one of the doctors here, and he brought it up, and I was like, that's what the Lord was doing this whole time. So sometimes God has to take you a certain way in your life, and you don't understand why you have to go that way, so that he can probably build capacity in you for what he's trying to get you to and what you may be asking for. Because if not, you will forfeit the very thing that you're asking God for, which is basically his plan for your life and something that he wants you to do. Just like he says, write the vision and make it plain. Some of those things that you have purpose for yourself and what you're trying to do, everything comes from God. Every good and perfect thing comes from above. So the plans that you may be thinking about, like, oh, this is my goal in life, this is what I want to do. Majority of that stuff is coming. All of that is coming from the Lord. The good things are coming from the Lord. Every good and perfect thing comes from above. Okay. But I wanted to talk about having the capacity, because God took me a whole nother way, and my plans, especially being a perfectionist and having plans for your life and everything that you want to do in your life. I had my plan set of me getting to medical school, and, I had wrote all of my plans down, not just getting to medical school, but I've always been a planner. I've had 3, 5, 10, 15-year plan. From anybody that has known me, I've always had a plan, but I didn't know why I needed a plan until God gave me understanding of why we're planning. So even going to UNLV, we already knew about having plans and goals or whatever, because we were learning SMART goals in college. They've been teaching us that even in high school. Always knew what plans were, and why, we need to make goals. But I never understood the significance of it until I was in church, and it made sense as to why we need to plan. However, that is not what I'm talking about today. But I'm saying that sometimes God has to take you a different way from what you are, what your plans are, to get you to what you ultimately want. And for me, my plans of getting to medical school deterred and went another way. And I don't know if you guys have heard this, but you can't plan. Well, we should know that, because people have their own will. But you can't plan your life with someone else, because they can always switch and change and become something else. Decide tomorrow that they're not doing that, because we all have our own free will. So making plans with somebody else can always change. However, you can make plans with yourself to get somewhere and to be something, but ultimately we know that it's never going to always turn out to how we want it to be. All right. So I said all that to say that last week I was walking with one of the doctors at school, and he was asking me, so Shavana, how do you like being at this school? So for a lot of you have seen my journey, as in I had to switch schools. My life turned out to be something I didn't want it to be. Well, not something I didn't want it to be. That part of my journey turned out to be something I didn't want it to be. But now ultimately I see why it had to be that. So he was asking me, like, oh, how do you like being at the school? I was like, wow, well, I actually love being here, because at the last school, I couldn't understand anything, and I couldn't put the material together in a way for me to understand it and really learn it as well as apply it when an exam came. And he was like, so Shavana, why do you think that? And I'm like, well, I think that because I've seen information before. I've seen some of the information. Now I kind of know what to do with it. And I know how to study to be able to apply it now. And he's like, okay, well, no. Why do you really think it's that way? I'm like, because, I've seen it. And he's like, well, it's because you know more now. And I thought, like, okay, yeah, that does make sense. It's because I know more. But also behind the scenes of that was God was giving me the capacity to be able to be a doctor. Because before this, what people don't understand is when you are coming to the Caribbean to go to medical school, because if you go to medical school in the U.S., nothing about your life changes. You don't have to adjust to too many things. You just go to school. And the only thing you're adjusting to is medical school, because now that schedule may be however long you got to sit in class. Well, over here, when I came to medical school in the Caribbean, my schedule was 8 to 5 every day, and it was 100% attendance that we had to be in. They started changing the attendance because everybody started complaining, and now it may be like at 70%. But I did not have the capacity to sit in a class for no 8 to 5. That was absolutely insane and ridiculous. Until this day, I still think it is. Because now that I'm over here, we don't have to sit in class all those hours. Now, is it the same workload? Absolutely, but it's less hours. I'm in class from like 8 to 12. But it's at a faster pace, and it's split out over the 2 years that we have. Over there, it was split out over 5 semesters. Less than 2 years, of course. But God had to take me that way, take me through all of those classes, because he already knew the plan. He already knew that the plan that I had was not the plan that he had. In order to get the plan that I was looking for, he had to take me the way that he was taking me so that I can get the result that I was looking for. So God took me that way, took me through those classes so that I can understand the material, get the grasp of the information, so that because he already knew that, okay, the financial aid gonna run out. Because guess what? God is the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning and end, the first and last. He already knows about your life. He sees everything before we see it. He's outside of time and we're in time. So when we thinking we're, planning stuff, God knows why he's doing the certain things that we're doing, even though we don't like when he's doing them because we can't see why he's doing it. That sounds like a handful. Well, a lot, but it is. Anyways. But yeah, God is outside of time. And we are the ones that's in time trying to figure out what God is doing because we can only see today. We can only see today. Like, we can make plans for whatever we're trying to make plans for, but we can't see everything. And God already knew that plan that I had of going to the school was going to fumble and whatever it was, but God had already had a backup plan for me. He already knew, like, okay, as long as you go this way, even though it was horrible, you hated it, the whole experience was disastrous, I still would have had that same experience. And that's what the doctor was saying too. He was like, well, Sharona, even if you went there, if you came here first, you would have had the same experience. And I noticed some of the struggles that students have here is they complain about the same things, like we don't have a car, we don't have, the transportation that we're on, we're using the taxi, we can't do things on our own terms, the school doesn't care about our mental health. The crazy thing is, all the stuff that people complain about here is what I was complaining about there. It's just, I'm at a different school now, and God built the capacity in me to handle it. So I went through that for 2 years. So now it's just like, whatever, I've been doing it for 2 years now. So I'm not about to get over here and keep complaining because I've already been through that. So God took me to a place to where when I say I was frustrated, we heard it, y'all seen it. I said it on the video a couple of times. I was frustrated over there, but now the complaints that I see people having now, I don't have those complaints no more. I'm not even fazed by some of the stuff anymore because I'm like, yeah, I did that for a couple of years. It is what it is now. Oh, I got to use a taxi, whatever. Oh, I have to be on somebody else's time. I've never had to be on somebody else's time. Never. And now I'm on somebody else's time that be messing up my plans. Okay. So here I can't even plan. But all those frustrations that I had and having to adjust to a new way of living in a country, all new rules, new everything, groceries high, all that good stuff, to come to a place and it's like, you know what? It doesn't matter anymore. The main goal is for me to become a doctor of medicine. So God had to get all of the frustrations out of me in that place. He took me away that I didn't want to take because he knew I would forfeit that. I would have forfeited my dreams if I didn't go that way, because now I understand the importance of why I am who I am and why he's doing the things that he's doing in my life. So sometimes God is taking you different ways for a reason. And if he didn't take me that way, I was actually done with medical school over there. I was ready to give it up. I said, I'm not doing this because all this little extra stuff that's going on with trying to be this doctor, I don't want it. I don't want it at all. So all the things that we may be asking God for, maybe he's taking you certain ways so that you don't forfeit what you're truly asking for. So when you get there, you're like, you know what? It took me too long to get here. I didn't went through all that over there. And now I don't have those complaints. I don't have the complaints of I ain't got no transportation. I said, I'm going to roll with it because the only way to win at this is I got to go with whatever this is. I got to go with the flow of I don't have no car. I got to go with the flow of I'm on somebody else's time. I got to go with the flow of I got to be in another country to get my education because that's just what it is right now. I got to go with the flow of it so that I can get the result that I'm looking for. So I just wanted to get on today and say that sometimes God may be taking you another way to give you the capacity for what you may be asking for, because sometimes we don't have it. I was that same person at the other school complaining about all the stuff that people complained about here. Everything. I was complaining about everything. Had no peace. So now God has brought me to a place where I'm like, that's all right. I don't even care anymore. Wow. Oh, I don't have no transportation here. Whatever. Oh, I got to take a taxi. Y'all, when I say all the stuff that I complained about there and I hear people now, I just be like, Lord, I thank you. Because I'm not complaining no more. If you've seen it in my other videos, it is what it is. Now I'm just like, it is what it is. And I have joy and I'm able to go to school without being stressed out. I'm able to enjoy the fact that God has brought me to an answered prayer. So I just wanted to get on to tell y'all that today.